Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Miss Terry Flower. You are now tuned in to the Terry Flower Show. We are here today to review Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 10, Episode 5. Let's go ahead and get at it. So they start the episode off with Nell struggling to get through the yard. She trying to cut across the doggone grass to get to her son's front door. She going to Lance's house. She said, Lord, this boy need to plant some flowers or something out here, honey. She done came on in the house. She looking around. You already know how parents be when they come to your house, honey. Nell sits down. She starts talking to Lance, and Lance is just expressing how even though he has 3 other kids, this is his first time where everything is his responsibility. If the baby got a stomach ache, whatever is going on with the child, it is his responsibility to handle it. This is the first time he is ever going through this. And I just want to tell Lance, be encouraged. No matter what's going on, he'll make it all right. All right, listen. But you gotta stay strong. All right, listen. Lance, you out here doing what women have been doing, child, since people been doing what they've been doing. Child, listen, I don't know how long women been out here doing it on their own, but we have been doing it, and it has been okay. You feel what I'm saying? It has been okay. So, baby, you gonna make it through. And I also noticed then, I like how Nell started offering him suggestions. You know, she's like, well, wait, maybe, what if I get the baby for 2 days and I give you 2 days off? He was like, I feel like that'll help me, but I don't know if that'll help her, Mom, because she done got so used to being up under me. And I understand that, Lance. This your baby. You got a certain way that you like to do everything, and I understand that, baby. But now this may be a little controversial, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes you could become like kind of codependent on your baby. It ain't going to hurt that baby to get some love from her grandmama and her granddaddy. It ain't going to hurt her to go over there. It's not. You need that little moment, Lance, you know. But hey, I don't know the full situation, because like I always tell y'all, we don't know these people. All right, we're going to go and move on. Nell also offers him the suggestion of, well, maybe I can come over here and spend 2 days with you at the house. That way the baby's still in the house. She was like, well, I think you should run this by Dad. She was like, and me and your daddy at our grown ass age can't be away from each other for 2 days, and we've been married for 30 years. That's a problem within itself, baby. I was like, talk to him, honey. He don't know. You know what I'm saying? But her son was like, hey, man, I feel like my mama done heard her with my own ears out of mouth. She told my daddy. She told him he better get with the program. All right. And in her eyes, the program is her. And I was like, I don't know if you've been paying attention to how your daddy been moving. But again, we don't know these people. But I think in his eyes, the program is her too. Because he be falling in line now. Then brings up that she talked to Destiny. Destiny called her like, oh, how your grandbaby doing? You know what I'm saying? And Lance was like, well, that's a little bit excessive. Rolled his eyes and shit like that. And they're like, well, you know, I'm just like, I didn't know what y'all was doing. Because she was flirting with my nephew, Twan. And I didn't know if y'all was together or not. I was like, child, this is a mess. Okay. Anywho, they in that scene with Lance just going ahead and making it clear that, you know, him and Destiny was just casually dating. Like, he willing to sit down and have a little conversation with her, because if the shoe was on the other foot, he would want a conversation. So he can understand where she coming from with that. But would he be upset? No, we was casually dating, baby. We were just kicking it, baby. I thought we were just cool, baby. You know, that's all it was. So they in the scene right there, moving on. Next scene, we meet up with Kimmy and Tisha. They meeting at this nice little boutique. They in there, whatever. And Kimmy like, well, how did you find this boutique? She was like, well, I was at this coffee shop and I walked down here, and she was like, well, I like it. It's cute and whatever like that. And then Tisha gets in her confessional just as phony as she can be. Yeah, you know, because I love this shop and I love these girls, and I'm in the shop I love, the girls I love. When? Tisha, please. Please stop. I'm sick of it already. We have Miss Destiny come on in. I ain't even gonna front and stunt with y'all. I like Destiny's little outfit. She was cute. Came on in or whatever, honey. They like, girl, what you been up to? She was like, well, you know, I had my TikTok live. Congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Girl, yes, because you been MIA. And then she was like, you know, Kimmy, when I say she, Kimmy says, you know, I feel like we need to start all hanging out with everybody together. And that's really what the dinner was about. Destiny said, I already know them heifers, so I ain't have to see none of them. You know what I'm saying? And then here go Tisha being messy again. She was like, oh, yeah, that was almost your mother-in-law, huh? And Kim, oh, yeah, sure enough was. And they start talking about how Nell asked the question at Trisha party about, like, how did y'all feel about what Martell said about y'all husbands? And how Tisha didn't want to answer the dang on question. So she was like, well, we said everything that we wanted to say on the podcast. Go listen to the podcast or whatever like that. that. And Destiny talking, right, what more did I have to effing say? Tisha started talking about how they went over there to confront Chris them about what was said about Maurice and Marceau having female sign NDAs. And Tisha was like, yeah, she got mad. She was like, I was in his space. And Destiny look over at Kimmy, was like, well, was she in his space? Kimmy was like, yeah, she was in his space. I mean, she beelined over there. Yes, girl, you got in that man's face acting a fool on that liquid sauce, that courage, that smooth drink. Okay. Tisha says that since Nell and Chris is throwing rocks at her house, let her throw a little rock over there at their glass house. Like, she don't know why they coming for her family when they know their house could be easily torn down. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep it real with y'all. We have seen more of what be going on with Nell and Chris. Now, I don't think we done seen everything. Now, we're going to hold up now. I don't think we done seen everything. But I do feel like we have seen a lot more into, like, their marriage and their relationship with their children. Even to the fact that they admitted that there was infidelity in their marriage. Like, Tisha is gun-ho on there has never been any infidelity in her marriage. Okay, with a pure heart, I can't sit here and say with Tisha, Marceau has never cheated and all that. Girl, honestly, I don't know. Like I always tell y'all, we don't know these people. But I'm just like, girl, if we the outside looking in and we've been able to get this much information, ain't no telling what's done been brought to your front door. Lord bless her heart, you know, because I said I wasn't going to call her the delusional this season. I was going to call her by her name. Okay, whatever, we're going to go ahead and move on. Tisha talking about kids and marriage is off limits. Girl, what? Oh, since now it's your kids and your marriage, now it's off limits? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You don't get to do this halfway, Tisha. We keep telling you, you got to choose one. You want your family to be the number one family of love and marriage, Huntsville? Then guess what, boo-boo? We need that information and people going to come for your marriage and your children. That's how this thing go, baby. And you already knew that. Don't play with us. All right, y'all. I'm going to try to finish reviewing this scene because looking at Kimmy, Tisha, and Destiny sit up here talking about how it shouldn't even be a conversation that kids and the marriage is off limits. Girl, don't play with me because every last one of y'all was talking about somebody's kids in their marriage when Melody was on this show. Y'all think we wasn't watching the other seasons? I'm sick of it already. Destiny brings up Martell, baby, and Tisha immediately walks off. She was like, oh, it is my time. It's my cue to go find me a dress. And that's like, this how you gonna act every time we bring up somebody that you don't like out the group? And Kimmy Thompson, probably. Girl, I can already see this. Hold up. Let me get my thoughts and put them in nice words. Hold up. Tisha, shut up. You ain't give a good goddamn about none of that foolishness. Not Maurice. What the boy name is? Martell used to be slanging around about everybody else. It ain't never matter until it was at your front door. And now since it's at your front door, you want everybody to stop talking to Martell because of how he just was throwing stuff on your name. Girl, shut up. Hey, honey, Tisha ended up walking her butt back over there when Destiny started telling about how Martell, talking about how he gonna take things more serious with him and Ariane, and then she went to talk about Lance. So they was like, well, when the last time you talked to Lance? Have y'all talked? She was like, no. She was like, I actually ran into him, and he just made sure he didn't give me any eye contact, which is kind of messed up. But at the same time, Destiny like, was y'all going together or something? Like, what's Tisa? Like, because you real pressed by this situation. I don't know if you're just doing this for the TV. I hope that this is just for the TV. Because I don't understand why the conversation is, for me personally, the conversation wouldn't even be needed no damn more. This man done had a baby. Child, go move around. Yeah. But hey, we gonna keep going. And it says that her and Lance have been friends for a really long time. Maybe that's the reason why she want to have a conversation with him. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I take that whole friendship for a very long time with a grain of salt when it comes to Destiny. Destiny has told us she's been friends with a lot of people for a long time. And then when the relationship fall apart, we find that they ain't known each other that damn long. But whatever. We gonna go ahead and keep moving. So then they bring up the fact that Nell and Chris Fletcher was saying that they found out when they were all in LA, and that's why they ended up leaving early. That's when they found out. They were just as shocked as Destiny. And then Kimmy goes into asking Destiny, well, were you guys currently dating at that time? It was like, honey, when we was at that little party, you know what I'm saying, y'all ain't really seemed like y'all was like dating at that time. And they do a little flashback of when Lance was standing over there by Kim and them, and he over there standing by Destiny. Destiny, and they was like, oh, I see your baby is really tall. He was like, yeah, he didn't get that from daddy. And Destiny looked at him and was like, well, he's real handsome. He got that from daddy. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. I see you find a lot of people handsome at this party, child. And quickly about faced and walked off from her ass, right? And so she was saying, come back to the regular scene. Destiny was saying that the whole reason why he had an attitude is because Kimmy was being messy and went and told Nell that she was giving googly eyes to the nephew. Remember how Nell said that early in the episode, how she was giving googly eyes to the nephew. And at the end of the day, I'm like, Destiny, stand in it, baby. You ain't married to now one of these NIGGAs, baby. Girl, I googly eye who I want to googly eye. You hear me? Girl, I do what I want to do. I'm grown. Is y'all okay? And another thing, she was on point. Kimmy was being messy. Kimmy, mind your damn business and worry about who your husband be googly eyed. Okay. Anyway, child, Destiny tries to defend herself. You know, I got eyes, you got eyes. I mean, did you see that man? He was fine. And Kimmy say, well, I didn't start batting my eyes at him. And she was like, I didn't bat my eyes at him either. Girl. Talking about, well, if you wasn't googly eyeing him, then when I said something, you should have turned around and shut me down. Like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about, because I wasn't googly eyeing it. Well, Kimmy, all together, baby, Kimmy love to hop, skip around her messiness. Girl, you was being messy. You could have shut the hell up and just peep what was going on, baby. You didn't have to say nothing. You didn't have to announce it. You know what I'm saying? They finish up that scene with Destiny basically saying what I was just saying earlier. I'm a single woman. I was single then. I'm single now. So if I wanted to bat my eyes, I could. And if that tall drink a glass of water want to take me out, then I'm going to go. You know, that ain't what she said. She called him a tall tree. I just changed it up. But whatever, honey. Live your best life. Moving on. Next scene, we meet up with Trisha and Miss Nell there at a little bar. They sitting there talking, just reminiscing about everything that happened at Trisha's party. And Miss Nell was like, she don't know where Tisha got all that big D energy from. And I said, girl, me neither. Me neither. He must have broke off before she got out here. I'm just playing. We all know she was on the sauce. That liquid courage, that smooth, cool drink. All right now. Oh, Miss Nell was just saying how she's noticed that Tisha always got an issue with her. First it started at the party where she was like, oh, these girls like grass, you know, Nell get in people's face and all of this. So Miss Nell just feeling like, girl, why you keep coming for me? But every time I say something to you, it's always, I don't know what you're talking about. What? You child, listen, we've been here for a very long time. We know exactly what the hell Miss Nell talking about. Trisha want to get her ass in doggone confessional. Talking about, well, maybe it's her relationship with Nell, because I don't really get that from Tisha. Girl, Tisha was trying you at your damn party, trying to tell you 1 foot out of your damn relationship at your party with you and your man on this big ass picture behind y'all. I'm just saying. But whatever, we gonna go move on though. Nell asked Trisha a good question. She was like, nah, if she would have got off in Ken's face like that, would everything be cool? Would everything be all right? What would you have done? And Trisha just sitting there like, no, it wouldn't have been cool. Girl, Trisha wouldn't have did nothing. Trisha can't even get Marquez to knock on her goddamn door before he come in the house. Trisha wouldn't have did nothing, baby. You asking the wrong person. All right now. Now anyway, Trisha talking about, oh well, how we gonna do with the BGC or the BGG or whatever it is they trying to come together with. Miss Nell like, hey, I do it with you and Kimmy. And she like, well at least you should, Trish Thompson, at least you should just try. Miss Nell like, I ain't gotta try and do shh. I ain't gotta try and do shh. All right now. And then they basically in that conversation with Trisha talking about she feel like they need to sit down and have a heart-to-heart between Tisha and Miss Nell. She was like, I feel like they really misunderstand each other. She was telling Miss Nell, you know, well, she don't really act like that outside. She really just act like that when we're in a group setting. Girl, I don't care if it's outside, inside, around the corner. You better leave that attitude at the house when it comes to me. That's how I feel. But you know, Miss Nell kept it cute. She kept it cute. And she was like, all right, now, here you go, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Next scene, we meet up with Kimmy. She's on the phone with Destiny. Destiny asking her about some type of spot or whatever like that. And Kimmy like, girl, you drug your damn feet. I done put somebody else in that damn spot. But anyway, while she having this conversation with Destiny, her son Jalen comes through the door. And Kimmy like, nah, it's not very usual for Jalen just to pop up like this. So it must be something going on. All right now. Jalen sits down and he lets his mom know that he decided to take a job that is there in Huntsville, like close to them. He's not going to go to Colorado. So she's very happy about that. And she was just like, at the bare minimum for the family business, even if just me and you do a project together and then Maurice and Monster do a project together, she fine with that. And Jalen goes into telling her how he sat down and he had a conversation with Maurice. So Jalen again tells her about the conversation that was had between him, Maurice, and Marceau. But he was just like, the conversation was very interesting because it seems like Maurice just doesn't get it. And I've said this in a lot of reviews. Well, I'm going to say it again, just in case if you missed it. I feel like Maurice is one of those people that weaponizes his ignorance, or, you know, those type of people that try to act like they're incompetent, like they can't understand what you're saying, just to make it harder to reach a resolution. Maurice just very much gives me that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Very much. I don't know how Kimmy do it, but best of luck to her. Praying for your baby. All right, moving on. Wrap that scene on up with Kimmy just saying that she feels like Maurice has a hard time understanding the role that he plays in situation, because she even has this same problem with him when they have a discussion. I'm like, oh, okay, baby, he don't want to be accountable. We knew that when we met Maurice, Marceau, and Martell. We knew that immediately. Accountability has been whooping their ass since we met them. Got it. All right. And then it's to watch Jalen kind of back down up off of it, and he was just like, well, I don't really know what fatherhood is, so maybe it was fatherhood that he was giving me, but you know, it just felt like a mentorship. And she was like, well, maybe it paid off. And he was like, yeah, it definitely paid off, or whatever, the tough love and blah 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 blah. That boy meant what he said. He said what he said, and I want Kimmy and Maurice to not back him up off his foot of what he said. He know what the hell he said, and he know what he meant. And I see he keep trying to backpedal on it so it don't be no issue. But if he didn't have some type of clear understanding of what it is to have a male in your life that treats you like you are their son, then he wouldn't know to say Marceau was more of a father figure to him than Maurice. That's how I know he trying to back up off of this so it don't be no issue with y'all. But Kimmy, I got my side eye on you, BIT, because ain't no MFing way this Negro was going to be in my house making my child feel like less than while lifting his up to the sky. I be DAMN. But we're going to go and move on. The next scene, we meet up with Chris. He's going to his son Lance's business. He's sitting down with his son, just talking about how everything has been going with him. How is the baby doing? And Lance is just like, the baby is doing good. She's in a teething stage, so she's only taking 2 to 3 hour cat naps. I'm tired as hell. Okay? That's what Lance said with it. You hear me? But anyway, Lance goes into telling him about, hey, mom came over and she was, talking to me and just asking me the same type of questions you were asking about how am I doing with the baby. Mommy was saying that she could tell that I'm tired, just by my appearance and stuff. And hold up, I'm gonna go ahead and pause for the calls. Anybody, somebody, please put in the comment, what happened to the baby mama? What happened? I'm probably late. I'm probably lost, and that is okay. Y'all just inform me. Put it down there in them comments. What happened? Where the baby mama at? What's going on? All right, we're gonna go and keep moving. His daddy that his mama offered him an opportunity where she would come to the house and spend maybe 2 to 3 days there just to allow him to get a full night's rest. And Lance let his daddy know, that would actually be something wonderful for me. I would need that rest, but I wanted to know how you feel. And Chris was like, to answer your question, hell no, I wouldn't be okay with that. And he like, hey, we got to set our boundaries. Me and Nell, he getting the confessional. Me and Nell, we're going to do whatever we can to help our grandkids and help our children in the way that we can. But there do have to be some boundaries set up. So me and Nell, we're going to have to tackle this. Now, my personal opinion, this just mine. I can understand where Chris is coming from, because he like, hey, at the end of the day, I want my wife in the house. I don't want her going 2-3 days of the week. Now, that's cool. But brother man, you see your son is crying out for help right now. Your son is going through. I'm looking at him on this TV. He look like he need a nap. I ain't even gonna hold you. All right, let that woman go over there for 2 to 3 days to help out her son and her grandchild. Sir, what are you gonna be missing? What are you gonna be missing? All right, she can't trust you for 2 to 3 days to find you something to do? Don't you got all these multiple business? I'm pretty sure you can fill your day up, fill them 3 days up with a whole bunch of stuff to do, brother. But obviously your child need help right now. And I don't know if you know it or not, Chris, but baby, this going to be a nasty argument. You try to tell that woman she can't go help her son. So I'll be praying for you too, buddy. Tells his son Lance that, hey brother, you need to take responsibility of your own life. Now he said it in different words, but that's basically what he was telling him. You need to take control of your own life, you and your siblings. Now we done tried to set some boundaries with y'all, but y'all be calling us for every doggone thing. And if we always running to help y'all, how are we ever gonna be able to get done the things that we need to get done? okay, that is fine. Now, I feel like every situation should be handled on a case-by-case basis. I'm only going to speak on Lance right now because I don't know what the rest of them got going on. All right. Now, with Lance's situation, Lance is raising a newborn by himself. Yes, indeed. He can take on that responsibility by himself, but why should he have to when he literally has a family that is able to support him? I don't give a damn what nobody say. Raising a child is a two-parent job. Now, a lot of women are forced to do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? But it really is a two-parent job. Two healthy parents, good child. Ooh, Lord knows about having an unhealthy nigga in your house. We're going to move on, child. Almost drifted. Anyway. Again, it's just letting his son know, you know what I'm saying, that y'all need to be able to handle the things that happen in life as an adult. But I feel like y'all just have blown those boundaries just out the window. And again, like I said, I feel like every situation should be handled by a case-by-case basis. When it comes to Lance situation is a little bit different. When it comes to Chris Jr. going in and out of jail, all that foolishness with that dog, you doggone right, he need to handle that himself. Y'all don't need to be jumping in and saying this nigga. But the situation going on with Lance, it ain't just Lance. It's a whole nother human being attached to Lance. Now, he got a newborn. Okay? Whatever, we're going to keep moving. Goes on to say that all of the kids be crossing these boundaries that him and Nell have set, except for that oldest daughter. You mean the Lexi, the one, you know, the one that is a little beef with Lexi, the only one don't be crossing them lines. Because Lexi don't really fool with y'all like that. Okay, she going to call her mama when she needs something. But whatever, we're going to go ahead and move on. All right. And then Chris suggests to his son that maybe you should talk to Martell, you know, because Martell be having his kids. He have them every other week, but I'm sure he got some type of schedule or got something figured out or what. I said, you finna send your child to go talk to Martell? Lord bless his heart. Lord, we're going to go and move on. In the next scene, we meet up with Tisha coming into this little coffee shop. She's there to meet with Miss Nell. Now, one thing I'm going to say about Tisha, is she delusional? Yes. Is she messy? Yes. And is that bitch beautiful? Yes, she is. That woman is beautiful. Tisha is so pretty to me. But whatever, we're going to go and move on. Sit down and they go ahead and get into the conversation about what happened at Trisha's party. Nell just go ahead and let her know, I didn't like that you got in my husband's face. And Tisha like, I didn't feel like I got in his face. Tisha, yes you did. And she gonna tell Nell, well, you entitled to your feelings, since Nell felt like she got in her husband's face. And then Tisha gets in her confessional and she was like, I mean, I didn't feel like I got in his face like that, but I don't like how she's talking to me like right now. Like, whoa, like, girl, Tisha, what is you talking about, baby? You absolutely got in that man's face, and you would have got closer if she did not step in between y'all. And you sitting up here talking about you don't like the way Miss Nell is talking to you right now. Miss Nell is actually being quite kind to you, because my hand would have been across the table right in your face when I said it. And I would have had my head turned to the side when I was saying it to you. So I think you need to appreciate the kindness that this woman coming at you with. But we're going to go ahead and move on. She up here talking about she don't remember being on 100. Girl, you absolutely was. Your voice was crackling. Well, he said it. You said it, huh? You don't remember none of that, girl? Whatever. I told y'all she was on that liquid courage, that cold, smooth drink. Then she brings up with Miss Nell. She was like, well, this is your husband's second time saying something about Marceau. And then Miss Nell said, well, what was the first time? She was like, well, the whole Atlanta thing. Miss Nell getting her confession like, oh, here we go with this Atlanta mess again. And Miss Nell had to remind her, he brought up my husband's name. He showed enough did, Miss Nell. When them pictures came out of his bike, he said that he was with Chris Fletcher. I remember, because we didn't even know who Chris Fletcher was. All right now. Child, Tisha talking about some, Tisha said, well, from what I heard, Chris had to take a picture with Marceau to send to you to prove that he was really with Marceau. And Miss Nell was like, I was with Chris. And she was like, yeah, you were in Atlanta, but he still had to take a picture of him with Marceau to prove that that's where he, Miss Nell get her confessional like, I don't like all this making up shit. Like, I was there with Chris. They went to the fish market. He brought me back some food. Now what he did after that, I don't know. And this all is coming from Marceau, and it absolutely is, Miss Nell. I remember how they were sitting outside in that car discussing them back pictures that had came out, and he hurried up and told Tisha, excuse me, that he was out there with Chris Fletcher. I remember what happened, because we didn't even know y'all yet, Miss Nell. We didn't even know y'all. Right now, Tisha, you're beautiful, honey, but you are a gullible goose, a delusional lady. Ma'am, your husband did bring up Chris Fletcher's name. We did not know who this man was. They even had to do the flashback showing when y'all was sitting in the car. Tisha don't know what to say to get herself out of this situation, and Miss Nell is telling her like, you need to take responsibility, because she trying to tell Miss Nell, well, y'all need to take responsibility for what you said, and what does this have to do with him saying something about Tisha? You can do all this flip flopping, imagination nation, or whatever. Whatever this is that you trying to do right now, ma'am, but the facts is still the facts. When that picture got released of your man back, allegedly, what he told you was that he was out there with Chris Fletcher. Now that makes me think that Marceau took a picture with Chris Fletcher so he can have his story ready for when he got home to you, baby, because Chris Fletcher's wife was out there with him. She could have rolled up on him if she wanted to. So what we gonna go move on. We gonna go move on. Tisha up here talking about like Miss Nell getting loud with her. You don't have to raise your voice at me. You can be respectful. If you want to have this conversation, you gotta be respectful to me. Girl, Miss Nell ain't raising her voice at you. Y'all are at the same tone. What is upsetting you is you can't find a way to get up out this damn conversation because you sound dumb. Miss Nell just wrapped you right on up in a nice little bow. You sound dumb. It doesn't matter who said it first or who said the name. I thought you didn't know who said the name or who brought up who first. I thought you didn't know. Now you know. Now you got some understanding. No, honey, you just ready to end this conversation because you see ain't no win for you in this conversation. Marceau has left you out there to look stupid, dumb, and delusional, how he has always done to you, ma'am. I don't know why you trying to act like this is something brand new, trying to be in defense of Marceau. Girl, you look like a damn fool. You better cut it out. But whatever, we gonna go ahead and keep moving. Tisha finna get ready to try to be done with this conversation so she can walk out this restaurant. This is what she always do. Whenever you come at Tisha with some truth, some honesty, and some real questions, Tisha is going to take it as disrespect, and then she going to get up and leave because you being rude and you yelling at her. Sick of it. Go ahead and wrap this episode up in a bow, honey. They start showing us what's to come next or whatever. We'll talk about that when we get there. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned this long. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My final thoughts on the show is Tisha getting on my damn nerve. That's my final thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because, ma'am, all of this mental gymnastics that you playing, I see Marceau has taught you well. It is aggravating me. But it's all right, though. It's all right. I'm still happy to be reviewing y'all. Y'all have a great day. Everybody have a wonderful day. Peace.